Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Skåne here in the south of Sweden, and we're going to revisit one of my favourite Swedish craft breweries. And these guys of course are particularly famed for their kind of fruit beers, sour beers and IPAs and stuff like this. So we're going to head to Helsingborg once again, which is a little bit to the north of me here in Lund, and we're going to revisit the Brewski Microbrewery once again. So this is one of the releases from the May 2019 edition of the local and small assortment releases through Systembolaget here in Sweden, and we're having a taste of their Floripa. So this one comes in at 6.5%, and apparently it's a special Florida IPA version of their original Mango Fever beer. So very curious to see how this one turns out, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. I always enjoy trying new stuff from Brewski, as I mentioned a minute ago. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Brewski before. No doubt there will be some more in the fairly near future because these guys are always releasing new beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brewski then. So Brewski, as I've told you before, were founded back in 2014 in Helsingborg in Skåne here in the south of Sweden, and they were founded by a group of different guys actually. This was Marcus Hjalmarsson, Johan Britsen, Alfred Olsson and Robin Skoglund. All of these guys were largely inspired by the West Coast American craft beers, and this is, you know, the IPAs and stuff, like I said, is where this brewery have really made their name. But Marcus was originally associated with the High Nose brand of beer brewed at the Höganäs brewery, a little bit to the northwest of Helsingborg, a very beautiful part of Skåne incidentally, and those beers are still brewed there, although all of the Brewski beers are now brewed at their own facility in Helsingborg, which is in the old train yard, and they started off with a capacity of around 100,000 litres of beer per month, but I believe they've scaled it up quite considerably over the last couple of years. In 2016 they also started their own beer festival, which was called Brewskival. They had over 40 different brewers the first time round, and they've been expanding it year on year. But they also used to open up the brewery once a month as a bar, but then they got their own bar, which is now called Brewski. And that's in the main town in Helsingborg too. But this has it's got a ramen restaurant in there. It's an American chef, so it's not authentic Japanese ramen, but what the American guy in there does, I have to admit, is pretty unique and pretty nice. So if you find yourself in Helsingborg, you've got some very good craft beers, and I do recommend that you check out their bar because you will get some really quite nice food in there. So yeah, Brewski, like I say, very well known for their IPAs and stuff like that. Probably my favourite beer I've ever had from these guys was the Conan Double IPA. Little Big Hoppy was another very good one. They do tend to stick to the lighter side of beers. They've been doing some more sours and stuff recently. I do need to make an effort and try and review some of those for you. But they're always producing different IPAs. Their Fever series is quite well known throughout Europe these days as well, and is definitely worth checking out if you like more fruity IPAs. But yeah, it would be cool to see them try a few different styles like barley wines and Scotch ales and stuff like that. But they stick to what they're good at, and they are pretty damn good when it comes to the sort of top fermented, the IPAs and the pale ales and the sour beers and stuff like that. So you can't really blame them. You will get the odd occasional imperial stout from them, which is very good as well. But yeah, it would be cool to see Brewski try a few different styles and things like that, but you'll always get a good IPA from them regardless. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Brewski just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and that will keep you up to date with all the latest goings on at the brewery. They are fairly prolific, and they seem to put 2 or 3 different beers out there at least every month, and this is one, as I say, of the local releases for May 2019 through Systembolaget. So yeah, let's get this guy out and we will get on it with the tasting then. Just a little brief look at the artwork for you there. You can see the crocodile just stealing the apple. I do believe that this beer has actually been around for a little while, because I'm sure the last time I was in Brewski, which was only about a month ago, I did actually see this beer behind the counter, so I think they brewed a fresh batch of it for the Systembolaget release. But there you can see, there is the Brewski brewery symbol there. slid it in. I did quite like the fact that this one had Dundee on it. It reminded me back of Scotland a little bit. But there you can see the Brewski guy is on the bottle cap of this one too. Little guy, little hipster basically. I think that's quite funny. But it says on the side here, Floripa, how many versions can we make with mango? Many. As our first ever beer, Mango Faber has conquered taste buds, male and female, old and young, national and foreign. While we admit to always evolving this beer, our sole intent is to fine-tune our tropical darling, make it worthy tribute to everyone that has supported us from the very beginning. Fruits off to you, mates, and here is a Florida India Pale Ale version of Mango. So yeah, actually, I think I still need to review Mango Faber for you on the channel. I think it's Passion Faber that I've reviewed. I didn't realise that Mango Faber was their very first beer. So yeah, I'll need to check that out for you on the channel in that case at some point soon. But yeah, Brewski, of course, very well known for these little stubby bottles over the last couple of years. It's 330 millilitres. So let's get it out and we will get on with the tasting. So this one's a Florida style IPA with mango inside at 6.5% ABV. Let's get it out and see how we get on. Yeah. Nice little bit of smoke on the opening. It smells very juicy and fresh, this one, I have to say. But we'll get it out and into the glass. And of course, oh, this one doesn't seem to have too much in the way of head on it actually, which is kind of curious, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll get rid of the brewery notes now and we can focus on the tasting section of the video. So as you can see with this beer, it's poured a lovely, quite deep yellow colour, this one. You can see absolutely no head to it. There was just a very thin white foamy layer there. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall, looks pretty nice. Not overly surprising in terms of its appearance when you consider that it is an IPA and you know that it's got mangoes added to it. Mango juice is pretty similar to this colour, of course. But yeah, if I hold it up to the light, definitely more of a yellowy colour rather than an orangey note. But yeah, it looks absolutely lovely, this one. More of a... I do wonder exactly how this one is going to be, to be honest with you. If I'm straight up, I actually don't really know what defines a Florida IPA in particular. Now, obviously the New England IPA is very well known. The West Coast IPA is very well known, red IPAs, the black IPAs and stuff like this, brute IPAs these days as well. But Florida IPAs, I think, I really don't know how different they are actually. I think I've maybe had one or two and I think they're a little bit more kind of bready and smooth if you like, but not quite to the same creaminess level that you'll get from a proper New England IPA, right enough. But yeah, let's just take a closer look at the aroma with this one and see how we get on. Now I have to say, compared to the other beers that I've had from Brewski, the aroma on this one isn't overly prominent, to be honest. You do get the nice juicy mangoes out of it. There is a little bit more of a kind of tropical fruit complexity in there, maybe a little bit of passion fruit, a little touch of grapefruit, something like that. Some of these darker tropical fruits, maybe a little bit of a kind of lighter pineapple or something too. But pretty much, straight up, this beer is mainly mangoes, and you've got some of the other tropical fruity notes in there as I suggested. But yeah, there's not really much jumping out of the glass with this one, to be honest. This isn't one of the more bold aromas you're going to get from Brewski actually. There's a little bit of grassy and floral character in there, the green side of the hops coming out. It's a little bit of a slightly spicy floral note, but again, it isn't something that really kind of grabs you by the balls, if you want to say it like that. It's a little bit more of a kind of reserved aroma, to be quite honest with you, but I'm sure knowing Brewski, it won't be a reserved beer in terms of its flavour. But yeah, so on the malty side of things, a little bit of a kind of bready, wheaty kind of character, but also a sort of yeah, you can also get some of the oaty creaminess in this one too. Definitely some oaty creaminess, a little bit of biscuit, a little bit of a kind of thicker, wheaty, bready kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting, this one. I mean, it has everything that you would kind of expect, but it's just nowhere near as bold and as punchy with its aroma as some of the other ones that I've come across from Brewski before. So yeah, the aroma is a little bit different, should we say, a little bit different compared to some of the other Brewski beers that I've had. But without further ado then, let's have a taste of this one and see how we get on. As I always say though, take a bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you get stuck in, but definitely not one of the bolder Brewski beers that you're going to come across. So this one is the Floripa coming in at 6.5% ABV, a special Florida IPA version of their original Mango Fibo beer. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Ooh. Yeah. So actually, the thing that's, I wasn't expecting that. This one is almost like a, it's almost a little bit like a sour beer. It has a little bit of that sour beer impact. When you take it in, you will get a little bit of tartness out of this. But it's definitely not, it's not the sharpest of sour beers, if that makes sense. This is quite unusual actually, but you know, that's what you want from Brewski. You want them to test your palate a little bit after you've had so many beers from them. Yeah, that's quite nice actually. It's almost like a sour mango beer, this one, to be honest with you. So yeah, this is, I like how this is going together actually. It does take your mouth a few sips just to adjust to this one, but once you get over that, once you get through that and push into it, it is really quite nice actually. I like how everything goes together in this one. It's definitely one of these beers where it's more about how the flavours kind of blend together and transition rather than being really overly punchy in any one regard. So yeah, the basis of this beer, you'll notice it comes in with a little bit of a sharp, tropical but still citric-y sharpness there. You'll feel that just behind the front curve of your tongue, and it fades away a little bit, moves out towards the side of your tongue, and then the beer just smooths out really nicely, and you've got this nice, slightly wheaty, but still kind of pale malty base there. That's what's forming the linchpin of your beer actually, and I'm finding that the further and further you go into the, that you go into the aftertaste, the more that this beer actually smooths out. And I think what I said earlier about the Florida IPAs being a little bit more pale malty and bready is actually standing up in this one, because it's not, the malt base is quite nice but it just doesn't have the same level of smoothness and creaminess there. It's very much a sort of white bready, but more of a sort of wispy, doughy white bready quality that you're getting out of the base of this beer. So yeah, I'm not sure if the Florida IPAs are supposed to be a little bit kind of sour but then smooth out a little bit later on. I mean, I think, you know, you've got Jay Wakefield as the brewer. I'm sure it's Miami they're from, but they seem to be getting a hell of a lot of plaudits just now, and they seem to specialise in IPAs and sour beer. So I'm wondering if a bit of a sour edge at the start and then a more kind of bready finish is what you're supposed to get from a Florida IPA. I did try a little bit of a Google before doing this video just to, you know, get an idea, but it wasn't forthcoming, to be honest. It wasn't actually really available. There were a few beers, it just came up with a list of beers named Florida IPA, but yeah, to me, a little bit of a sharp tropical beginning, as I say, and then it smooths out really quite nicely and gives you this lovely light pale malty quality. The further you go into the aftertaste, you can feel the centre of your palate just kind of drying out a little bit, but it's definitely a sort of almost wheaty smoothness is in there, and some of the pale malty qualities just become that little bit drier the further you go into the aftertaste of this one. In the centre of your palate, you can pick out that there's a little touch of a biscuity sweetness to the beer. And those kind of mango-y qualities, as I always say, when you add fruits into a beer, it really suppresses a part of the green side of the hops. You can really feel the mango. You can feel the mango sharpness there, just kind of suppressing a little bit of the grassy and floral aspects of the beer. But I really like how this beer goes together. This is definitely one of the beers, it's not one of the bolder beers from Brewski, it is one of these ones that is more about how the flavours fit together, but you do want a little bit of a change of pace when you drink so many beers from the one brewery, so thumbs up to them for changing it a little bit. And it's cool to see that they are still mucking around with their old recipes, if you like. On the hoppy side of the beer then, back corners of the palate, there is a little touch of earthiness there, but it very quickly transitions to be a smooth, but still there's a little touch of a herbal quality in there, but the earthiness has a nice smoothness to it. But as you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, you've got a nice slightly spicy floral aromaticity in there, and then round the very front curve of the palate you've got a nice lighter grassiness to the beer as well, which is nice, but that's suppressed a little bit by those sharper, slightly tart mango-y notes that I was talking about. On the fruity, juicy side of the beer then, as I always say, your fruity aspects tend to come out of the beer behind the front curve of the palate in that nice oily bubble. So yeah, I mean straight up pretty much, this beer is mango. I would suspect that it is mainly Citra that's in this beer, perhaps along with a little bit of a bittering hop, but sorry about that guys, camera fault there. As I was saying though, the fruity aspect of this beer is quite interesting. So on the oily bubble behind the front curve of the tongue, you'll notice at the back of that there's a nice sort of grapefruity, a dark kind of grapefruity note to that. That's one of the traits you can get with Citra. So yeah, for me, just a little touch of that darker grapefruity note there. And as you come further forward from that, it is pretty much kind of straight up Citra, to be honest with you. Straight up, you know, mango. There is a little touch of some of the kind of complexities there, but the mangoes that they've added to the beer, quite obviously, you know, they come out on the front edge of your tongue. As I was saying earlier, you know, they suppress a little bit of the green side of the hops, but the mango flavours are really kind of lingering throughout this beer. When you move further into the aftertaste with this one, it's a little bit of the white bready kind of pale malt that's just lingering there in the aftertaste, and that's a nice touch to the beer as well. If you've watched the channel before, you will know that I do enjoy my beers, that I do particularly like beers that have a little bit of a malty backbone to them. I do like a good malty presence. But the fruity side of this beer is particularly interesting. I don't think I've had a sour mango IPA before, to be honest with you, other than the mango from Dugas, and I really quite enjoyed that. This one puts a different kind of spin on it because it is more of a kind of straight up IPA rather than a sour beer, if that makes sense. It does have a good bit of a kind of straight up IPA quality to it rather than being fully focused on being a sour beer. So I think that's an interesting kind of combination to make there, because the way that the sour mangoes come out around the edge of your tongue is really quite nice. You can pick up, if you go just very kind of close behind the front curve of your tongue, you can pick up a little bit of the limey, kind of lychee, gooseberry sort of flavours, the little complexities that you'll get from Citra. But otherwise, this beer is very much a kind of straight shooter. It's pretty much you know, a sort of more classic, slightly bready, pale malty IPA with a bit of sour mango in there and some Citra hop qualities. It's a nice but, you know, quite simple beer, this one. I do like how everything's going together, and as I said, this beer is definitely one of the ones where it's more about how the flavours mix together and you get the transition in the flavour from the sharpness to the smoothness to a little bit of the hoppiness just lingering into the aftertaste. So yeah, a thumbs up to Brewski for this one. Not the boldest of beers that I've had from them, not the most punchy of beers, but definitely a nice kind of sessionable drinking beer, this one, I have to say. So yeah, let's, you know, it's a good one. Have a go at this if you get the chance. Yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, I'd say this one's at the bottom end of mid-bodied. Carbonation does have a little bit of a prickle to it on this one, and I've always found the carbonation is a little bit more active in beers that are slightly sour. The mouthfeel overall, it has a little bit of tartness to it, so it does have an oily aspect to it, but mainly it's a wet mouthfeel, and that helps some of the tartness come out. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness. I think we're talking around 40 IBUs in this beer. A little bit of a sharp tart impact to this one, as I mentioned earlier. Malt base is fairly smooth, a little bit of sweetness in there, like I said, a little touch of a biscuity note in the middle of the palate, and you've got some nice juicy but still quite sour fruity aspects that come out in the beer more and more the further that you go into the aftertaste, and you do have some of those darker traditional kind of grapefruity notes to the beer as well. So yeah, I really like how the flavours in this one go together, and it's definitely worth trying. Quite different from the likes of the Conan IPA and the little big hoppy and stuff that I've had from these guys in recent times, so kudos to them for trying something a little bit different actually. So in terms of comparing this beer to other ones that I've had, you know, it's a little bit like it does remind me to some degree of mango from Dugas, but it does remind me a little bit of it does remind me a little bit just some of like Little Big Hoppy as well, because it does have that more classic IPA base to it. So if you like, for example, if you take Conan Double IPA and you sort of combine Mango from Dugas and you mix them together, I think this is not far away from what you would get, albeit a little bit lighter in alcohol, because I think Conan was around 8.5%, 9%, something like that. But it's a lovely beer, this one. I wouldn't hesitate to drink it again, and definitely a little bit of a change of pace from Brewski, I think, actually. It's another IPA right enough, but to me this is a little bit different from some of the other ones that I've had from them previously. So have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. It's cool to see that they are releasing more and more of their beers here in Sweden through the kind of monthly local releases that we're getting. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brewski as well, and I'm sure I'll return to these guys in the fairly near future. Make sure you check out my social media. This one was the Floripa, a special version of the Mango Faber. Little bit kind of sour, a little bit kind of like a straight up IPA, a good sort of hybrid style if you like, from Brewski in Helsingborg and Skåne here in the south of Sweden. So until the next time, slange just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Skål.